Oh, yes!
Bloomberg have reported this week that the studio behind PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Bluehole, have dropped their lawsuit against Epic Games for infringement of copyright. Now, both PUBG and Fortnite have become cultural icons of late and each have passionate fan bases as well as a direct result. However, regardless of your chosen battle royale, this should come as excellent news for anyone with even a passing interest in video games. It must be stressed first that officially the complaint is levelled at both the interface and in-game items, but PUBG Corp has previous in this regard. In an instance of genuine copyright infringement, the company sued the developers of both Knives Out and Rules of Survival. These games were trying to copy PUBG, in the sense that they actively profit from people seeing the uncanny resemblance between the games. But what really stood out was the bizarre particulars of the suit. Bluehole believed that the use of a frying pan and the phrase "winner winner chicken dinner" counted as legally protected iconography, which is a pretty lacking case. Back to Fortnite however, and let's be clear, PUBG's lawsuit seems to be grounded on the basis that Fortnite have copied the Battle Royale formula and consequently infringed upon copyright. Ignoring the fact that H1Z1 could feasibly raise the same argument, PUBG's legal action seems to imply that a game's core concept should belong to those that first used it. Now, copyright is a tricky business of course, not least in the relatively young medium of video games, but this very notion is simply nonsensical. I'd hate to let this discussion descend into childish whataboutism, but as far as copyright law goes, that's basically how things work. If this lawsuit went through and won, this case would henceforth act as a yardstick for future cases. If that was to go on and act as precedent, then any genre-defining game or concept could be defended by copyright. So for example, we could see Lords of the Fallen sued as being a Souls-like, Saints Row taken to court for following the GTA formula. The developers of Pong may even consider giving Virtua Tennis a cease and desist. All this seems ridiculous, and that's because it is. The Battle Royale format is clearly profitable and popular, but you surely can't claim ownership. I'm not attacking a company's right to protect copyright, but this is not what that is about. The two games are immediately separable, with Fortnite's colourful creative aesthetic offset against PUBG's grounded and more realistic feel. There's an unwritten legal rule of thumb that I believe to be useful here. The moron in a hurry rule dictates that a civil claim, albeit trademark, can be ruled out if the titular moron in a hurry would be the only instance in which someone could mistake two products for one another. Applied to this instance, and frankly the moron in question would have to be nearsighted and colourblind. For me, Fortnite took PUBG's core concept and put their own spin on it. Much more a reimagining than a copying. In all honesty, it just feels like PUBG are throwing their toys out of the pram, as Fortnite has massively surpassed their sales. Because selling 50 million copies is really such a fucking disaster, is it? But they did look to have their suit heard in their native South Korea, suggesting they were hoping for some favourable circumstances, and therefore were quite serious in their claim. What's more, this isn't the first time we've seen something like this happen, lest we forget King's generous ideas of what constitutes trademark. It can only be assumed that Bluehole have been advised of the shortcomings of their suit, and have consequently ended their legal proceedings. Or possibly that holding company of both PUBG and Epic Games, Tencent, have expressed their concern to both firms. Fortnite's Battle Royale mode would simply not exist if not for the success of PUBG, but to suggest that copyright has been breached undermines everything that gave Fortnite its unique feel. A world in which core concepts are protected is one without evolution, and hopefully the news of this dropped lawsuit dissuades developers from following suit. I have no doubt that the arguments of which Battle Royale reigns supreme is far from over, but thankfully the argument of copying versus transforming can be put to bed. So there are my thoughts on the debacle between Fortnite and PUBG. I'd be quite interested to see what your opinions are. Please leave a comment and we can discuss this further. As always, if you've enjoyed this content and want to see more, please like and subscribe. Look forward to seeing you at the next one.